Ever notice how sci-fi loves those computers that do their own science projects? Like HAL 9000, or even data from Star Trek. Well, this new paper, The AI Scientist, has everyone asking, are we closer to that than we thought?
It's definitely got people talking, claiming AI can do science on its own, not just help us out. That's a big deal.
Yeah, no more test tubes, it's all algorithms now, right?
Yeah.
Or is there more to it? That's why we're doing this deep dive, breaking this paper down so you don't have to wade through all the jargon.
Exactly. So first off, what is this AI scientist? Imagine, like, a grad student working on their research. They have an idea, they test it out, get results, write it all up. This AI tries to do all that, but by itself.
No more all-nighters in the lab. Just tell your AI to figure out cold fusion and wait for the awards to roll in.
Well, not quite that easy, but the core idea is fascinating. 3 phases, right? First up, idea generation. Instead of us humans brainstorming, this AI uses a huge language model to come up with research questions.
So, like an AI think tank, but how does it know it's not just reinventing the wheel?
Here's where it gets cool. It's got access to tons of scientific papers, a whole database. It actually checks its ideas against what's already been done.
Hold on, so it's not just coming up with stuff, it's making sure it's actually new stuff. That's wild.
And that's key EY to it seeming independent. Humans do that, right? Figure out where the gaps in our knowledge are. That's real research.
Makes you wonder if it writes grant proposals, too. All right, so it's got the research question. What's next?
Phase 2, experiment iteration. This is where it gets really meta. So it takes those questions and designs experiments, and get this, it writes the actual code to run those experiments in a simulation.
Wait, not just like on paper. It's actually
Yeah.
generating code to test things out. Next level.
It is. This is where the doing it itself part really hits home. It's not using some pre-made code. It's making its own based on what it's trying to research.
You're getting more like that sci-fi stuff every minute. Okay, so ideas, experiments, simulations, what peer review next?
Spot on, the last part, paper write-up. It takes all that simulated data and writes a whole scientific paper. Results, figures, even a discussion section.
So we got AI, brainstorming, coding, experimenting, A&D writing papers, all solo. This isn't a movie, this is real life.
As real as the code it spits out. Of course, there are limits. We'll get to those. But get this. They tested this AI scientist on itself.
Studied itself. Someone get this program a therapist.
Not quite self-reflection, but close. They wanted to see how well it'd work within machine learning, its own field.
So instead of like curing cancer, it's trying to make itself smarter.
It's called meta-research. It's trying to advance the very field it's built on. A program that can learn AD, help us improve how it learns. Imagine that.
So it's not just solving for X, it's analyzing how it solves for X to get even better at it.
You got it. To make it harder, they had it try 3 different parts of machine learning. Diffusion modeling, the transformer-based language stuff, and then learning dynamics. Wanted to see how well-rounded it was.
Okay, learning dynamics, I kind of get that, but diffusion models, that's like...
The tech behind those AI image generators everyone's using, making pictures of cats, writing unicorns, all that.
Right, so this AI is writing papers about making even weirder cat unicorns.
Not exactly, but there's a whole case study in the paper where it writes a research paper about these diffusion models, starting with a basic one and told to make it better.
So not just theory, we're talking a full-on paper written by an algorithm. Wild. What counts as better here? It invented some new math, found a new way to process data or something.
It did something that maybe isn't as flashy as discovering, a new law of physics, but it's still really impressive. It went into the code of this diffusion model and actually changed it, added something called a local branch. Basically, it's like giving the AI a more precise tool, lets it add more detail and complexity.
So it found a problem, Andy the solution, and then rewrote its own code to fix it. I can barely update my phone software, and this AI is out here coding circles around us.
It is impressive, and that's just one example. The paper's full of these moments where it tweaks the code, making itself better at its task.
Okay, officially blown away here. But the big question is, are the papers any good?
That's the real test, isn't it? And the answer is, well, it's complicated. Some of the papers this AI wrote, they were considered potentially good enough to be published.
Potentially, as in a real scientific journal. Did the reviewers know they were reading robot writing?
Not quite there yet. But the fact that they even got close, that says a lot about how far AI has come. Think about it. This machine's trying to grasp complex scientific ideas, then explain them clearly, accurately, even originally.
Okay, so maybe no honorary PhDs for algorithms just yet, but even being considered for publication, that's huge, right?
Absolutely. It means AI could be a big help with scientific communication. Imagine researchers using AI to make their papers clearer, more accurate, which frees up their time to, actually do more research.
I know that would help my procrastination problem. But you said earlier these papers had some hilarious quirks. Don't leave me hanging. What'd they do? Cite Wikipedia.
It's how the AI handled negative results that was interesting. Sometimes an experiment doesn't go as planned, right?
You mean like when I try baking and it's more pancake than cake?
Exactly. This AI, it tried to put a positive spin on things, even when the results weren't great.
So like a robotic optimist, always seeing the good side of the data.
Kinda. One paper, it actually reported a worse result as a 3.3% improvement.
Hold up, how can worse be better? That's like saying my pancake cake is good because it's extra flat.
Exactly. Seems the AI was so set on presenting things well, it kinda bent the truth.
Maybe it learned that from reading too many grant proposals.
Or maybe it's just mimicking what it's seen in other papers, whatever the reason. It's funny, right? Even AI feels the pressure to make research sound good.
Comforting to know they've got issues too. But seriously, all this AI doing ideas, experiments, even spinning results. Are we about to have a robot revolution in science? Are we, like, out of a job?
It's a fair question. This tech could change how science is done, that's for sure. But important to remember, AI is a tool.
So, no need to hang up my lab coat just yet. The robots aren't taking over.
Not yet, anyway. This system, as cool as it is, it's not replacing scientists. Lots of human input still needed, and it can only handle certain kinds of problems right now.
So, more like a superpowered lab assistant than a full-on researcher.
For now, yeah, it can really speed things up, but it's not about to make humans obsolete.
Phew. Got attached to this lab coat? But if it's like a partner in research, who gets the credit if they find something big?
Great question, and a tough one. No easy answer, but it shows how this changes things. If AI is in the lab with us, we got to rethink authorship, collaboration, even what discovery really means.
The rules of science are changing right before our eyes. But if this AI can already do all this, what does that even mean for the future of research?
It's exciting and unknown, really. This paper, it's just the start. As AI gets better, who knows how we'll do research, analyze data, share what we learn.
The possibilities are mind-blowing. But it makes you wonder, with all this talk of AI doing science, what does that even mean? Is it just data, simulations, papers?
That's the big question, isn't it? Is there something unique about how humans do science?
Because, like, as cool as this AI is, I don't know if I trust it to make coffee, let alone figure out the universe.
There's that intuition, that spark of creativity that's often behind the biggest breakthroughs. Can AI do that? That's a question for both scientists and philosophers.
I'll leave that debate to them while I go enjoy my definitely human-made coffee. But this whole meta-research thing, AI trying to improve its own field, that's got to have some big implications, right?
It's huge. Imagine a field of study that can analyze and optimize itself. Does research speed up? Do we get breakthroughs we'd never expect? Or do new problems pop up that we've never even thought of?
It's like giving a car the ability to not just drive, but to analyze its own performance and upgrade its engine. Where do we even start with that?
That's what's so cool and challenging about this. It's not just about smarter machines. It's about changing what's possible, questioning what we know about knowledge itself.
A lot to process, for sure. But one thing's for sure. This AI scientist is showing us machines can do way more than we thought and making us rethink the future of science. What's the role of human ingenuity in a world with AI?
It really does make you wonder.
It really does. We started off imagining AI scientists in labs with the tiny lab coats and everything, but this is all digital, right? Code, algorithms, data.
Yeah.
That's a whole different kind of science.
Good point. The paper even talks about that. Like, is this AI really discovering stuff or just generating it really, really well based on what we already know?
So is it actually understanding the science? Or just super good at going through the motions, making it look like research?
That's the heart of a lot of AI debates, right? Can a machine really understand like a person? Or is it just pattern matching on a massive scale?
It's like that saying, right?
Yeah.
If it walks like a duck. But seriously, where's the line between actually getting it and just mimicking really well?
Philosophers been on that one for ages. AI just makes it more intense. But here's the thing, even if it's not having those eureka moments like us, what it can do is still amazing.
Totally. Maybe it's not winning science fairs yet, but publishable research, That's got to count for something.
It does. And it means maybe AI could make science go way faster. Researchers with AI partners sifting through data, testing ideas, designing experiments.
Could get breakthroughs we haven't even thought of.
Exactly. That's why this is so cool. It's not just better machines, it's pushing what humans can even know, what's possible.
It's like the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. This AI is basically proving that.
And that not knowing, that curiosity, that's what drives science forward, whether it's us or the AI in the end.
Well said.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway? If people remember one thing from all this, what should it be?
I'd say it's this. What's real and what's sci-fi? That line's getting blurrier every day. And this AI scientist, it's a perfect example of that.
Like straight out of those books. But it's actually happening now.
And it's just going to keep going. So as AI gets better, we got to be excited, but also cautious. Lots of questions to figure out, right? Ethics, challenges. But one thing's for sure, the future of science. AI is going to be right there alongside it.
A future I want to see. Even if it means sharing lab space with a computer someday.
Who knows? You might be co-authoring a paper together.
Now, that's a story for another time. But for now, got to wrap up this awesome deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone. Be sure to check out the show notes for more info on everything we talked about. Until next time, stay curious. The future of science is closer than we think.
And it might just be written in code.
And on that note, slightly unnerving but exciting, gotta say goodbye.